In the cold, early months of 1066, the fate of England hung precariously in the balance, a crown waiting for a head strong enough to claim it. The death of the childless King Edward the Confessor in January of that year set in motion a chain of events that would irrevocably alter the course of the nation's history. It was a crisis of succession, a political vacuum that invited ambition and conflict from all corners of Northern Europe. The English Council, the Witan, acted swiftly, choosing Harold Godwinson, the most powerful earl in the land and respected, to be their king. Across the Channel in Normandy, Duke William, a distant cousin of the late King Edward, asserted that the throne had been promised to him years earlier. William was formidable and ruthless, a man who had spent his life fighting to secure and expand his own duchy, and he was not one to let such a prize as the English crown slip through his fingers. He immediately began to gather a vast army and a fleet of ships, preparing for an invasion of a scale not seen in generations. His claim, bolstered by what he declared was a sacred oath sworn by Harold himself, gained the crucial backing of the Pope, lending his military enterprise the air of a holy crusade against a perjured king. Meanwhile, another claimant watched from the north. Harald Hardrada, the fearsome king of Norway, believed he had a right to the throne through an old agreement. Encouraged by Harold's exiled brother Tostig, Hardrada assembled his own invasion force, intending to restore a Scandinavian dynasty to the land once ruled by King Knut. For King Harold, the kingdom was threatened on two fronts, forcing him to divide his attention and his forces. The first blow fell in the north. Hardrada landed and won a searing victory at Fulford. In an astonishing feat, Harold marched his army nearly 200 miles in days and won decisively at Stamford Bridge, killing both Hardrada and Tostig. But as they rested, William of Normandy landed on the south coast, unopposed. On October 14th, 1066, on a ridge near the town of Hastings, the two armies met. The English, fighting on foot, formed a near-impenetrable shield wall, a tactic honed for centuries. For hours they withstood repeated charges. The Norman knights struggled to break the line. An eyewitness wrote the English stood firm as if rooted to the ground. Late in the day, a rumor that William had been killed spread panic in Norman ranks, but he revealed himself and rallied his men. He ordered a feigned retreat, luring exhausted English down the slope. Turning on them, the Normans opened fatal gaps. An arrow is said to have struck King Harold in the eye, mortally wounding him. The English broke. By nightfall, the army was destroyed and the road to London lay open. The Anglo-Saxon age had ended in a single bloody day. William's coronation on Christmas Day, 1066, began a long, brutal subjugation. The English did not accept their new French-speaking masters. Rebellions flared for years, particularly in the north, where resistance ran deep. From 1069 to 1070, William laid waste between York and Durham, burning villages, slaughtering livestock, destroying crops, a terror campaign that caused famine and left the region desolate for a generation. To secure control, William used force and information. In 1085, he commissioned a survey of every shire, every field, mill, plough, pig and person. Who owned land in 1066, who owned it now, and its taxable value. Completed in 1086, the Domesday Book inspired awe and dread. Its judgment felt final as the Last Judgment. It maximized royal revenue and cemented a new feudal order, transferring wealth and power to a smaller elite of Norman barons. In 1154, Henry II, energetic and brilliant, ruled a realm from Scotland's borders to the Pyrenees. He unified royal justice, sending travelling judges to apply consistent law, replacing local customs and baronial courts. He championed juries over ordeal or combat, an early move toward evidence-based justice. But extending royal jurisdiction hit the church. Thomas Becket, Archbishop of Canterbury, resisted benefit of clergy reforms. In 1170, after Henry's infamous outburst, 4 knights murdered Becket at the altar. Christendom was horrified. Henry did penance, yet his legal reforms endured, shaping common law worldwide. John, ruling from 1199 to 1216, lost Normandy and taxed heavily, alienating his barons. In 1215 at Runnymede, he sealed Magna Carta. Due process, jury by peers, and no taxation without consent, principles whose symbolic power proved immense. From 1337 to 1453, English victories at Crecy and Agincourt showcased the deadly longbow and fostered a distinct national pride. French ruled court and law, Latin ruled the church, the people spoke English. War made French unpatriotic. In 1362, English became the language of law. Middle English emerged, enriched by French and Latin. In 1348, the Black Death arrived, killing a third to a half of the population within 2 years. Labour shortages empowered survivors to demand higher pay and leave serfdom for towns and tenancy. Unrest followed, including the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. Though horrific, the plague hastened the collapse of the medieval order. A more urban, mobile society and a more confident English tongue took shape. After defeat in France and a feeble Henry VI, a power vacuum invited noble rivalry. Lancaster and York waged intermittent, brutal campaigns across England. Fortunes swung wildly, alliances shifted, nobles fell, estates burned. Battles like Towton were exceptionally bloody for the era. In 1485, Richard III's contested rule faced Henry Tudor's final challenge. Henry raised an army and marched from Wales. At Bosworth, Stanley's decisive switch doomed Richard. Richard was killed. Henry VII was crowned, beginning the Tudor dynasty. He united Lancaster and York, creating the Tudor Rose, symbol of peace and unity. A shrewd ruler, Henry restored stability, broke over mighty nobles, and built a more centralized crown. Henry V inherited prosperity in 1509, handsome, athletic, devout, defender of the faith. Needing a male heir, he sought an annulment. Refused by the Pope, he chose rupture. Through Parliament, he severed Rome's authority, naming himself head of the Church of England. Guided by Cromwell, he dissolved monasteries, England's greatest land transfer since 1066, enriching crown, nobles and gentry. Ancient charity and learning networks collapsed, reshaping society. Violent swings between Protestantism and Catholicism followed under Edward Mary and Elizabeth. Elizabeth's settlement forged a moderately Protestant church retaining some tradition, pragmatic unity. She mastered image and ruled with consent and craft. In 1588, Spain's Armada failed. English seamanship, superior guns, and the Protestant wind secured independence and pride. By 1603, London was a commercial hub, and England's horizons had widened across the seas. The realm was more unified, more prosperous, more confident. The long, often violent journey that began at Hastings had forged a distinctly modern English nation with a unique identity, a powerful monarchy, and a global destiny. From the frost of 1066 to Elizabeth's golden light, the shape of England was set. Record and reform, law and language, war and worship, threads woven into a nation's fabric. This is the legacy of Hastings, a kingdom remade and a people finding their voice.